Hey everybody, welcome to Comic Books Beyond. We are joined by a special guest this week. We have Matt McGrath, who is promoting his Kickstarter for the Acts of Louis Debraz. Did I say that right? Or is it
Lu-
Debray?
that's a good question. Louis Debraz is what I say.
Louis Debraz
Yeah.
Voyager,
hmm
which drops on Kickstarter August 5th, or I guess I should say dropped, because this is definitely coming out Friday.
hmm
All right,
Correct.
Matt. Before we start, I have a question I ask almost everyone. This I'm convinced I can learn everything about a person that I need to know. You can go anywhere in the world.
hmm
It's lunchtime. What are you getting for lunch?
What am I getting for lunch?
Yeah, and you can go anywhere you want. This tells me everything I need to know.
Okay, interesting. Do I have an unlimited
Unlimited
money
budget.
as well?
Yeah.
Unlimited budget? Hmm. Yeah, maybe I'll fly to Japan and or teleport to Japan and get some like authentic sushi or something. I usually just go up the road for some sushi, but it's probably not the most authentic experience. But yeah, if I got magical transportation abilities at my disposal, I think I'll just go over to Japan and get the real thing.
I might be right behind you on that one.
Yeah.
All right, so Matt, let's get into the book today. And I don't know where you're at, but it is hot as hell where I am today. So, oh,
Yeah, it's pretty hot here. Yeah, one of our hotter days so far. Whereabouts
yeah.
are you?
I'm upstate New York, Binghamton.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, it's kind of middle of nowhere, so it's the edge of nowhere. Was where I say I live.
Got it. You've been getting some of our wildfire smoke over the past couple of
Are you
weeks.
up in Canada then? I take it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in
I
Toronto.
am so sorry for so many things. I apologize,
Yeah.
but I do love Canada though.
Thank you. Yeah.
Um,
We love the United States most of the times.
yeah, we're not always like this. So Matt, can I ask you to pitch me this book? We are talking about horror today, and I'm a huge horror fan, so I'm really excited to talk about this one.
Great. Yeah, so speaking of Canadian, this is a Canadian folk horror comic that I've had in my head for a pretty long time. I don't know. I think the solid idea of it's been in my head for maybe 5 or so years, but the kind of lingering idea of it's been probably 10, 15 years. But yeah, to pitch it, it's about a voyager, so who a fur trader in the 19th century Canada, who has this unknown vendetta against the devil, and he's basically tracking him across all of Canada, trying to drag him back to hell. And so that's kind of the overarching plot. And so for this specific one, it's based off of a famous French Canadian folktale called Rose La Tulipe, or The Devil Comes to Dance. And there's many different variations of this legend. But mostly it's about a small town, a small community is celebrating Mardi Gras, so the last night of partying before Lent begins, and a mysterious stranger comes to the door and asks, he's been on a long journey, can he kind of come inside, warm himself up, have a drink, and maybe just chill out for a bit? And they say, yeah. And then he kind of takes his eye to a young lady of the house, Rose, and kind of woos her and off her feet. And along the way, people kind of start noticing that this guy is a little iffy. Like they look at his feet and there's like little sparks of fire coming up. The kids are afraid of him, stuff like that. And lo and behold, it's actually the devil. And so they end there. There's many different variations of it again, where Rose ends up, running off with the devil, or maybe she's saved by the priest, or her soul is damned, and what have you. But yeah, that's usually how it goes. So yeah, the basic ideas for this is it's basically my version of Hellboy. That's that's the main reason why I wanted to do this.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's just a way of kind of adapting a bunch of French Canadian folk tales that I've come across over the years. And I should say that it's co created with John Berg, who's another Canadian comic creator who lives in the GTA, so the Greater Toronto area. And yeah, he's done a fantastic job with it so far. He's the co-creator and the illustrator of the book.
You sent me a couple preview pages earlier, and I read through them about 3 times, and they looked great. I really liked the art style. It wasn't too terrifying, but it looked really good. Uh, so can I ask, was this a story that you grew up with? Like, was this like your bedtime story going to bed, or just something passed around the schoolyard? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, no, that's interesting because it's definitely not the stories that I grew up with. So I grew up in Ontario. Um, so it's a province in Canada for your American listeners. But right next door to us, to the east, is Quebec, and they're uh, mostly French speaking. There's kind of like little islands like Montreal that are very bilingual, and there are other little islands of English speakers, but mostly French speakers there. So that's where my partner is from, and I kind of learned about them through her, I think, although I don't really remember the specifics. I think just kind of getting more, being in Quebec more often and being more exposed to Quebec stuff, I just kind of came across all these folk tales. And yeah, it kind of clicked with me. Like I had this nebulous idea for a kind of Hellboy type thing of some wanderer who walks across the country and encounters paranormal problems that he has to solve. So all these folk tales from Quebec that are heavily based off like Catholic traditions, and the devil is a character that comes up repeatedly in a lot of these stories. It just kind of thought it would be like a great premise. These I could conjoin these cool folk tales with this kind of very vague idea that I had. And so yeah, the interesting thing is I have kids now, and they kind of become bed stories for my kids. We have like a storybook of like French Canadian legends that we read to them, and Rose Letelier, The Devil Comes to Dance, is one of the ones that we read to them at night.
Oh, well, that's definitely an awesome bedtime story for the kids.
Yeah.
I grew up on Thomas the Tank Engine, but yeah, I quickly found horror when I was like 4, and it was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
So it's interesting you said this comes from Quebec. My only time in Canada was a really bad horror story. I did not realize how French Montreal was.
Oh,
I was
really?
told it was a English speaking country that happens to speak French, and the no parking signs are not clearly labeled. And 3 tickets later and almost getting
Oh, yeah.
towed, I enjoyed my time there, but I had my fill.
Yeah. Yeah. All the signage will be in French for sure.
It was great though. I really liked it, aside from the parking tickets and stuff.
Yeah. That's a. Although the one bad thing about Quebec is you can't go take right turns on red lights. One
Oh,
drawback.
I
Yeah.
definitely didn't follow that rule. Good to
No, you
know
know.
for my
Unless they
next
change
trip
the out
back.
there.
So Matt, where did you first like get into horror? Like, what's the horror origin story?
Um, yeah, I feel like I'm pretty late bloomer when it comes to horror. Growing up, it was mostly I think science fiction was like the thing that I liked the most. Like my mom was really into Star Trek, and I kind of got my interest in science fiction from her. It's more speculative stuff. Yeah, I watched like things that were way too inappropriate for me to be watching when I was a kid, like Terminator 2 and
Nice.
12 Monkeys and all those kind of dark sci-fi things, Blade Runner. So yeah, like growing up, it was like that superhero stuff like that. It probably wasn't lit till probably I don't know, like my early 30s, late 20s, where I really got into horror, and I guess that kind of came about with this new, this elevated horror kind of revival that we've been seeing in the past 10, 15 years with
Yeah.
directors like Ari Aster and now Dave, no, something Eggers,
Oh,
the
Robert Eggers,
Robert Eggers, yeah, yeah,
the witch and all
yes,
those.
Vivitch, yeah,
Vivitch, yep.
yeah. So I think that's where I came to it, and also video games like Resident Evil. I'm a huge
Hmm.
Resident Evil fan right now, but
Which is your
I
favorite?
I haven't played all of them, but so far I'd say two, the original two.
Cool, cool.
Yeah,
It's a classic.
yeah.
I've actually never played the original three, because just I never. My mom was actually that was like the one thing she would stop me from doing was the Resident Evil games. So I started with like 7, and then worked my way back. I played the remakes, and then I never played like the first two or the original. Or I never played the original two
Yeah.
and three or the original one, but I played the remastered version and most of the other ones too.
Oh yeah. For the original one, yeah, the remake is far superior than the original.
Yeah, I've heard it's really different too, which is I
Yeah,
thought it was
there's
just like an extra couple things, but
yeah, there's like an one kind of new character plot point that's added on. That's a pretty significant change, and yeah, a bunch of other different locations, but more or less like pretty much the same plot. But yeah, just the music, atmosphere,
mhm.
obviously the graphics are way way better.
Now, were you a Silent Hill kid or were you Resident Evil only?
No, so like yeah, that's the other thing. I didn't get into Resident Evil probably till I was like 35 or something, or 34, mid 30s.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I came to it very, very late, kind of in that headspace of, getting more into horror in my adult years. So yeah, no, when I was a kid, I was kind of the RPG fan. Like I was playing Final Fantasies,
Nice.
Crash Bandicoot,
Yep.
all that Legend of Dragoon, like all that stuff.
One of my co-hosts is a huge Legend of Dragoon fan. Has been trying to get me to play it for 20 years, but I
Oh,
think they just announced a remake.
oh, did they?
I
Okay, I got note
think
on that.
so.
Okay, yeah, I can believe that. We've done it for Final Fantasy VII, so
Yeah, that one.
Dragoons do as well.
Yep. So Matt, how scary would you say this work you're putting out here is? Like, say on a Legend of, or on a scale of Hocus Pocus to a Serbian film, how dark are we talking here?
Serbian film?
My wife came up with that one. It's some really dark extreme horror that she won't watch.
Oh, I gotta check that out. Okay. I'd say, sorry, what was the first op? The low end again?
Low end we'll say is like Hocus Pocus. So
Okay,
you
okay.
can maybe give me a comparison horror movie here.
Okay. Yeah, well, I guess like Hellboy. Like it's about as scary as Hellboy. So,
Yeah.
it's more creepy atmospheric
Yep.
horror, like tension, more than kind of like jump scares or anything like really kind of unsettling.
Yeah,
Um,
the atmosphere in this and like the colors I really liked. So
yeah, he did a
can I ask you to talk about the collaboration process in this one a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Where do I start? So I wrote the script. I kind of like was had it. I don't know. It took me a while to kind of like find the story of it. Like first, I had to research all the different variations of the legend and kind of find the parts of each story that I liked the best that I wanted to incorporate it, and then find kind of I don't know how I fit in this character that I've made up, how he fits into it. Anyways, so that took a while, and then finally got the script done. And then yeah, John, I worked with him previously on a Frankenstein short story for a zine that came out a few years ago about the I think it's 250th or 200th anniversary of Frankenstein. So our story was about the creation of Frankenstein's monster from the perspective of Frankenstein's downstairs nosy neighbor.
I
So yeah,
like that.
that was yeah. So yeah, kind of ever since then, like I've been wanting to work with John again. So I gave him the script and he was interested, but he was busy with another project. So instead of, trying to find somebody else, I just kind of put it off and put it off in my, whatever, my laptop somewhere and just let it gather dust until John was ready. And luckily that time came earlier this year. Yeah, it's not a very interesting story. But is yeah, through any specific things? Because like originally, this story was meant to be structured like a silent film,
Oh
so
wow.
it was going to be on like a 6 panel grid, so it'd be two across, three down, square panels, and so there would be an image, and then all the dialogue would be done in would be set in like one panel, with like the intertitle type of look. But yeah, I guess this is like with talking with him through it, that idea kind of like didn't really work. Like I don't think it kind of worked with how he likes to draw comics. Like if you look at his pages, they're very bombastic and I don't know, fluid. Whereas the silent film thing would have been a lot more constraining. So that's one of the big changes that kind of came about with collaborating with him. And yeah, I think it's probably for the best because when I started writing it out with the dialogue inside the panel, it kind of freed up a lot more stuff. I could add like a lot more story into the pages that I had, more characterization, things like that, and yeah, it kind of it worked out pretty well, and it felt much more Hellboy after that pass.
Now, were you writing with Hellboy in mind, or was that something that like came out where you like naturally started to feel this reminds you of Hellboy? I've actually only ever read I think the first arc or two of Hellboy.
Oh,
I
really?
liked what I read, but there's
Yeah,
a lot of that.
there is a lot.
That's my only reason for not going more to it.
Yeah, they came out with like omnibuses a few years ago that might still be around, but it's pretty. There's only like five of them, and they're pretty inexpensive. So if like you ever wanted to do a deep dive, like
Oh,
just get
nice.
those, yeah,
Yeah, a
get
lot
those.
of places are doing that. It's great.
Yeah, totally. But Hellboy, yeah, I think like from the beginning it was very much like I want to do my Hellboy. First the idea was I want to do a Hellboy, and then I kind of had to come up with okay, but what am I going to do that's going to be my own, but not just completely derivative of Mike Mignola. So yeah, I guess that kind of goes back to my earlier answer. We're discovering these folk tales because obviously Mike Mignola is very influenced by folk tales, especially in Hellboy and in the new book that he's doing now. So yeah, I'm just a big fan.
Now, Louis Debrez, I'm trying to say this. Louis Debrez, is that correct?
I don't even know how to say it. Yes, but we can go however you feel like. I kind
Oh,
of like Debray.
we're gonna go with Louis Debray.
Okay.
So was he a specific character from these folk tales, or was he someone you came up with?
Yeah, he somebody that he came up with. So yeah, yeah, I just kind of had some characteristics that I had in mind. Like I wanted him to be, I don't know, a bit overweight. Like I didn't want kind of like a super buff, thin-ish, I don't know, muscly dude. I wanted somebody a little more, I don't know, natural looking. Somebody who's a little bit out of shape and kind of get knocked around a lot, but still is kind of like a badass who could beat you down if you wanted to.
He's farmer strong.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, he doing some research. I kind of came across a person, a real life person called Louis Sir, who is French Canadian, and he was like a famous strong man, like probably I don't know, according to Wikipedia, one of the strongest men who are recorded, I guess, who's ever lived.
What was his name again?
Louis Sir, so Lo, yeah, like Louis in this one, and Sir is CYR.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Okay.
I actually compete in strongman. Um, and Sir is a specific dumbbell challenge, which
Hmm.
is ridiculous. And just the thought of doing it scares the living hell out of me.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's like, I don't think it's there's a dumbbell that's like this thick, like you're holding like a giant coffee can.
Uh,
I think that's the one that is named after him. So yeah,
okay.
that's a cool character to be named after.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so kind of his look was based off of that a little bit. I think yeah, Sir was probably like more of a lumberjack type thing. Like he was
Yeah.
later, more early 20th century person. But yeah, just like so my guy is a voyager who would have been is like a fur trader. So they would have they're kind of like the middleman who's going into the deep woods and trading with the indigenous people there to get the fur pelts and then taking them back to the forts and handing them over to the fur traders Hudson's Bay or what have you and getting their commission from that. So yeah, the kind of being this rugged outdoorsman was kind of a big part of that lifestyle. And the Debray or the Debraz part of it, I just was like looking up creepy French last names and yeah, somebody I don't remember the first name, but somebody named Debray was like one of the last person in France to be killed or executed for witchcraft. So yeah, I just kind of went with that. Like that sounded kind of creepy and ominous connection with it. So just like, yeah, sure.
I mean, that's horrifying, but
Mhm.
you picked a pretty metal last name for
Yeah,
that reason.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know much about the history of witchcraft in Canada, but we had that problem here for a while,
yes.
and we
So
have a
this,
ton of museums dedicated to that. How about you?
well, okay. So the person I was referencing, they were Debray. They were in France, like they're French, or
Oh,
French
okay.
Canadian. But yeah, there is a little bit, not as much in the United States with witchcraft. But there's one specific. Now that you mention it, French Canadian legend where a woman actually. Okay, now I'm thinking. Yeah, I think she was accused of witchcraft, but she was executed for kind of witchcraft, but also maybe murdering her husband and maybe her previous husband before that. And she was executed, and her body was kind of strung up in this cage on a crossroads. And that kind of spawned a legend where, her ghost kind of haunts this crossroads now, and she's in this cage, and she's kind of grabbing people who are ever walking by. Le Carveau is the name of this character. And yeah, again, that's another French Canadian legend that's super famous and kind of has its connections to witchcraft.
Yeah, you've definitely read a lot of these French Canadian legends, and you're kind of selling me on checking a lot of these out. So, do you
Yeah.
think in the future are we going to see more of these from you?
Yes. Yeah, I hope so. Like, well, I know John down to do more. I want to do more. Like, I have more ideas. It all depends on how well this Kickstarter does. So, I think even no matter what, but I still got like a couple more that I want to do. But we'll see like how popular it becomes. To like give me the financial impetus to keep going with it. But yeah, there's a lot. There's werewolves. Loup garous are kind of very famous or very huge part of French Canadian folk tales. The Chasse Galerie is kind of the most famous folk tale. It's about an enchanted canoe. So
Ooh,
the
go on.
Oh, yeah. So I guess a bunch of voyageurs or lumberjacks or whatever it is in which version are kind of far away from home on Christmas Eve, and they're lonely and they want to get home. So they make a deal with the devil to get them home as quick as they can so they can be with their family and get drunk. And so the devil gives them this enchanted canoe, and they hop on and they go flying off into the night on this witch canoe. And then they make it back home. They have their party, and I can't remember the specifics, but they have to be back at a certain time because that's always happens in folk tales. And they get on, and I think they're not allowed to swear on the enchanted canoe, and one of them does, and it breaks apart, and they all fall down. Or I think in another version, like they end up hitting a church, and that also causes them to fall down out of the sky to their deaths. There, yeah, I don't know the ending specifically, but I know that the setup and the endings are depends on which version you're getting. But yeah, that's one of the more famous legends in Quebec.
Not being able to swear on a boat. If you've ever been on a boat, it's just swearing. That's pretty much all you do.
Yeah.
Rowing sucks. So
French Canadians love to swear too, and they have very specific swear words.
they're probably a lot nicer than the ones we have in my country. So
Yeah, yeah, like kinda. It's different.
there's a
It's
music to France. Like I can't speak French at all.
yeah.
Um,
It's all based off of religious items in a church. All their swear words.
no kidding.
Yeah,
The more you know.
yeah.
Uh, so Matt, can I ask you to talk about the Kickstarter campaign itself a little bit? Like, what are some of the tiers and options you have out there? I don't think it's live now, so I couldn't get very far deep into it.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah. No, it's Friday, obviously, and so it is live right now. So you can go to the Kickstarter page and look at all the cool stuff. But what we have, so we have the base stuff of just a digital version and a the print version of the book. So it's 24 pages, or no, the saddle stitch. For the digital version, it's $7 Canadian, and for the print version, it's $10 Canadian. So US, that kind of shakes out to like $5 and $8, $7 type of thing.
That is a great rate. Now,
Yeah.
is there a physical version of this at all?
Yep. Yeah. So the print version, yeah, there'll be a print ver. The print version is the $10 Canadian.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So,
Now, how about international shipping on that? How's that going to work? I'm not sure if it would be printed in Canada or how that works at all.
yeah. So speaking of Trump, and having to go through all those tariff stuff, but
I am so sorry.
it's okay. It's okay. It's not your fault. Okay, but so luckily with whatever silly tariff laws that he uses, um, books and written material are exempt, so there's no tariffs on any of that. So yeah, you can back that tariff free.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I can't remember what I'm charging for the United States, but it's between like $7 and $9 Canadian, I think. So it's probably like pretty similar to what you'd pay for like a domestic like
Yeah,
shipping from US to US.
that's not bad at all. That's honestly a great rate compared to some other Kickstarters I've seen, and
Yeah,
that's awesome. I mean, if you need to, like, I'm not too far from Canada. We'll meet at the border, toss them over. I'll take them to the
sure.
post office. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Oh,
All right, Matt. We are running a little low on time tonight, but I would like you to, crack your knuckles, crack your back, get in character, get ready.
okay.
Do you want to make one final pitch for this? Tell us exactly who this is for and why we should
Mm,
back.
okay. Well, who this is for? Okay, yeah. So I guess this is for anybody that likes folk horror. So all the good stuff that we've been talking about, like Robert Eggers, Ari Aster. If you like Hellboy, if you like kind of pulp characters, like I'm starting to get into James Bond right now, reading all that. Conan's another one that I'm starting to read more. Any of those kind of like very 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s pulp characters, you'll definitely like what we have here. And if you're interested in folk tales and legends from around the world and learning more about different cultures, this one's for you.
Well, Matt, you sold me on this pretty hard. I was pretty sold when I saw the preview pages. Like it looked good, folk horror. My wife is a huge fan of that, so I knew I was going to be at bare minimum. Like, as soon as you sent me those, I'm like, honey, look at these. I think
Yeah.
you'd like this.
Yeah,
Um,
I just got them very recently, and it was the highlight of my day for sure.
awesome.
Those pages.
Well, Matt, I really enjoyed having you on the show. I hope you had a good time.
Oh
Is
yeah.
there anything final you want to sign off? Any positive messages? Anything you want to pitch, chat up? Whatever you got. The floor is yours, sir.
Oh man, yeah. No, I just really want everybody to back this book. Get it funded as quickly as possible. Kickstarters are really hard, and the faster they fund, the happier I will be, especially going into my vacation. I want to help me have a stress-free vacation where I'm not checking my phone constantly to see if somebody gave me a couple of bucks to go towards this book.
Absolutely. So, Matt, it was great having you here. I'm going to get this up as quickly as possible, and I wish you the best of luck on this one, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Anytime. Let us know when you have something else because I want to see more.
Oh yeah, I got something else coming out later this year, so we can talk.
Ooh, awesome. You might be our first returning guest.
Ooh, cool.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll see you back next week. Well, it's time to close the book on today's episode. If you're a comic book creator and you have something for me to review or would like to interview a guest on the show, please send me an email at comicbooksbeyond@gmail.com. This offer is also available to fellow comics journalists. If you're a listener and you want to submit a question, I'd happily read it on the show. Please just let me know if it's okay to read and how you'd like to be credited. If you'd like to get a hold of me otherwise, I'm at Comic Books Beyond on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, but I mostly use Blue Sky. I am trying to use Instagram a little bit more, though. If you'd like to show support for the show, please consider leaving a rating, review, or comment. I ask for honest reviews only, and I'm always looking for ways to improve the quality and content of the show. All right, everyone, be good to each other, and stick around for some gratitude and thanks. Comic Books Beyond would like to thank John Burkle and the crew of the Talking Comics podcast, Brandon McNulty, Lisa and Brad from Comic Book Couples Counseling, Alex Jaffe, Jeremy Whitley, Jimmy Gasparo, and the crew of Comic Book Yeti, John Clay III of Shadow and Flames with Magic podcast, David Pepos, and all of our listeners and co hosts.